We start things off at the Swagtron Pro Series, and gotta love this inside drifting by T-Money. I mean, just gorgeous riding. I mean, gotta love the look of that. It's hard to ride, and that's why a lot of pro players aren't doing it, but wouldn't have mattered what she was riding this weekend. Lucky just had her in his sights. You know, those shells earmarked for her, as if to say, I heard what you were saying, that you're coming for me. Well, here I am. I'm not going down without a fight. Not for that 5th Champions League spot. Certainly not. But Pamela, in a fight of her own for first place, red shell squeezes into first, much like myself squeezing into the beautiful pair of jeans at the Banana Republic change room. But similarly, that blue shell comes, and if to use a metaphor, it's like me walking out with my jeans, the ass is blown out, and I say there was a defect with these jeans, and they say, well, did you try them on? I say, I did not. They just exploded in my hands. But Pamela, trying to hold on to second place. King Midas flying in there out of nowhere. And third for Pam. Everything falls apart in the matter of 10 seconds. That's why you love MK racing, because anything can happen and the chaos happens at the finish line. But look at this. King Midas, big finish. And look at Shell looking over his shoulder at Pamela way up in first. Getting a little peek and a smile on his face. He may be in the midst of things, but he's just smiling at Pam, that gorgeous body that he gets to look. But the sin of lust, and the women are taking out men, and it's long overdue, I will say so myself. You know, it's feminism. But look at this, Pamela way up in front. She is shaking, grinding, and drifting all over the track. And we go into the final stretch. Pam basically crossing the finish line as the chaos unfolds. Shell trying to catch up. Lucky and Slam competing for second place. Lucky, no mushroom, takes the shortcut for really no reason at all, takes out Slam, and Shell Carter, the beneficiary, gets a very, very lucky second place. Slam Carter just crawls in 5th. A broken man. Lucky and Slam just tied up there. It was tough racing for Slam this weekend. That is a true fact. But look at this Electrodome. I love those gorgeous multicolor things, and Slam or Shell saying, here's one for the ladies, and Slam says, don't ever do that. Don't ever talk to my girlfriend again. Don't do that to my girlfriend. And here's a Shell right for you. And I have a little bit of experience with that. Lots of guys, you know, I say, don't talk to my wife ever again. And the guy goes, I'm a waiter, you know, I'm just taking the orders. But you know, women like that stuff. So look at this, Shell Carter flying in, and ooh, 3 coins for your trouble, Mr. Bebo. And Bloshi, this is a guy who is fighting this weekend and just in the mix of things. And you gotta love to see Bloshi. You know, he started off as one of the worst racers. He's got a little bit interesting, but as you see, everybody fighting. And this is kind of a pattern for a lot of the events. One person running away with it in first, and King Midas happens to be the one running away with it in first. He gets shelled, lightning, it's all good, but here's the surprising thing that oh boy, like I would never expect to see Bebo flying in there second place over Pam, but gorgeous to see Shell Carter fighting, trying to keep his season alive, and he flies off the track. That golden mushroom, too much power. No one man should have all that power. Well, I think some men should, but no one dork should have all that power, and we see why. Look at that. Shell Carter falling into third place, King Midas in first, and King Midas, he's struggled so much since the first week, but boy, oh boy, does he have a chance to do something special to regain. I mean, when we saw him sitting at Cheeseland in the sand, I said that this is a broken man. This is the saddest thing you'll ever see, but he seems to be coming out of it. He seems to have recovered. I don't know why, but I hope that this is a sign of things to come, because he is an electric racer when he is on. Look at this, way up in first place, King Midas. His first time since the opening Big Boy Speedway Classic, a first place clinched. And as we see the chaos unfolding, Bloshi passing Pam, Shell Carter in second place. Pam and Shell tied for second in the event. And this is just unexplainable. Bebo, how do you let T-Money pass when you got such a big gap on her? But moving on to the Hog Classic. And this is an event that usually the league chooses what races they're going to be doing. This was racer chosen. This was random, picked out of a hat. Somehow Waluigi pinball on there, Lucky's choice. And boy, oh boy, it was lucky for him to take it. But definitely the people at Harley-Davidson not too happy about that, and we'll talk about that later. So look at this though, Bebo, this is the end of the first lap. In first place, perhaps the greatest racing moment of his career. This is like, oh boy, I don't know. This is like watching a kid in a candy shop, or it's like watching a kid drive a car in many ways, both literally and figuratively, but it's, you know, they're happy about it, but they don't know what they're doing. And that red shell, you can understand it, you know, not tricking off the jump, kind of put him in that position, but this is where it becomes clownish. It just falls back into ninth so quickly. Banana peels, driving into the edge, not tricking. It's just a comedy of errors, and everybody's laughing. But Lucky, going into the final stretch, he is just ahead of Pam, who just got blue shelled. Look at this, the green shell bouncing off those pinball machine mechanisms. And to be quite honest, I think it's a joke. You know, you have a gorgeous level with pinball, and I mean, great racing by Lucky, by the way. Pamela using that drift on CBK, just, you know, that's the veteran and the rookie. So what can you say? Incredible to see CBK coming in third, but no surprise, Bebo not even crossing the line before he starts punching himself in the head, having a little bit of an alt-right freak out. But, you know, it's just one of those things with Waluigi pinball. There's 80% of it's a gorgeous track, and then it's just, you know, it doesn't reward good racing at the end, in my opinion. But, ooh, this is what they dreamed of, those Harley-Davidson folks. A little bit more, not the ice, but you saw that shot of Slam Carter riding with the flames on the Flame Rider. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that will be on the cover of Hog magazine if such a publication exists. But look at this, Shell Carter. Looks like he has second place tied up. Pamela in the back, but lightning strikes and Pamela is the extreme beneficiary. Flips over into second place. T-Money in third, who was a bullet moments before. And Shell Carter dropping back a couple positions into fourth. Lucky with his second first place finish, coming out extremely strong. But tick-tock clock, we start to see the top performer really take off like we expect her to. That, ooh, you think he had protection? I don't know what the hell happened to Slam Carter, but not fun to see. And looking at this, Slam Carter, this is just a second place ride, and Pam crossing in first place, Slam in second. The lovely couple having a gorgeous time on the track. But Shell Carter, this is chaotic. Just absolutely fighting back into position. King Midas, Lucky, all of these guys, stars. Ooh, Lucky just barely avoiding Shell Carter, blowing him up. But a fifth place for Shell. Lucky, sixth place. And after two firsts, it's not enough. Pam has been racing well that first and 2 seconds. She is in first place. Lucky drops down into second place. And boy, oh boy, the lover's gaze. Sometimes it blinds you. Sometimes betrayal is on the horizon. But the Carter brothers feeding Pam bananas. And I don't want to think about that in any other context than the track. But look at this, CBK. He's having fun on the track. And boy, oh boy, that bomb in the corridor. Perfect placement. Just devastating for any racer. And Bloshi just having a hell of a weekend. But going into the final stretch, you see King Midas, and he is flying in there in first place. This is going to put him in a position. He has clinched a third place, knocked Shell Carter back into fourth, or perhaps lower depending on what position he falls. Pamela flying up there in second place. Bloshi coming in. A gorgeous ride. Third place for Bloshi, fourth place for Shell. And just the hardest weekend. I mean, Slam was on top of the world. He was getting all the press. And as we see here, a similar scene to what we saw with King Midas, sitting in the grass, contemplating your life, contemplating your relationship with Pam. Who knows? Boy, oh boy, an exciting, exciting weekend. It seems 2 weekends left, all but clinched at Pamela. She's just been consistent. You know, she hasn't necessarily been the first place stalwart that she was earlier in the season for a stretch where she put together, I think, 4 straight first places, at least 3, maybe 4 out of 5. She was dominant then, but the thing that's kept her and kept this huge lead is where you see racers like Shell Carter and King Midas, they'll stand on the podium, they'll do well, they've been up there, but those races when they're not in the zone, it's not a second place for them, it's a 5th, it's a 4th. And whereas Pamela, she's been on the podium every single week this season. And I mean, you look at, Lucky and T-Money. T-Money had one of the most disappointing weeks that we've seen. I'm a huge T-Money fan, and I despise Lucky in many ways. I respect him, and when we had him on the drift, we were brothers in arms, and we were having a really good time. But then he got off and he betrayed me, and he said some things about my ex-wives, and he said some things about me that were not nice. They were not good things to say. So he had a great weekend, and I mean, this is the first rookie racer to stand on the podium, so that's a new ground broken. And we kind of knew that it was going to be Lucky that was going to do that, but we didn't know when. And to see him do that, hats off to him. It was really incredible to see, but it was really disappointing, the racing that T-Money did. But let's move on to the headlines with Mike Austin and Harley Davidson pulling support for future Hog Classics. So those Flame Riders, that's going to have to be a rider choice. It's not going to be an event anymore where everybody gets on the Flame Riders and rides them. They're just really disgusted by the choice of levels, by the racers. And I was there front row as we're sitting at Waluigi Pinball, and I'm on pins and needles to them saying they're not going to be happy about this. And of course, I see them sort of ceremoniously stand up and leave the booth that the Saudis had got for them as this event started, as they saw one of their bikes riding into a giant pinball. They weren't happy about this. This is an open road bike. I don't like Calamari Desert that much as a level, but of course, they love the idea of riding out in that open desert or, doing things like that. So to see gimmicks and pinballs and things like that, they just weren't happy, and they felt like it was a real bad look for their brand. So future Hog Classics are pulled off the table completely, at least with litigation right now. Harley Davidson not happy. But let's go to a different headline. King Midas, he had that big weekend in the first event, and afterwards he's talking about a day of reckoning is coming, and everything is so cryptic with him. He just can't be like, oh, I had a great race, there was a lot of fun out there, it was good to be back, I went to therapy, my mental health is great. No, a day of reckoning is coming. And you wonder who. Is this just saying the race? Last week he was talking about Pamela and some of the bullying that she was doing. So maybe it's about Pam. We'll see, I guess. And this guy is he's nuts. It's probably about nothing, but something to potentially keep an eye out for. And let's move on to the next headline. Shell mulling his future with JD Corp Racing. And that photo's a little deceiving. He was smiling at women trying to flirt with them, but he was not a happy man. He was sort of flirting with a cameraman with long hair, and of course the man stuck his head out from behind the camera and put an end to it. Very borderline physically. So Shell, it's just been a difficult season for him with JD Corp. There's a lot of internal issues. I know he's a difficult guy to deal with. You kind of take a chance on him. He's a great racer. He's been one of the best on the track. Some weekends he's just a clear on, dynamite runaway racers. Other times it just seems like his head is other places. But JD Corp Racing, after that demotion from captaincy, some of the stuff with the lawsuit, it just doesn't seem like this is a relationship that's going to last beyond the season. And Shell is just saying that he's going to be, doing a space age deprivation to figure out what his path is forward with them. And I don't necessarily know what that means, but I guess we'll see and we'll find out. But finally, and I guess most excitingly for the league, I mean, some of this young talent up and coming. So Lucky and Bloshi, they're headlining this strong weekend for rookies. And I mean, the second at the Hog Classic for Lucky, I know he was quoted to me, he said, I might just be riding this damn thing all the time now. He was so excited. And a great event. It's too bad that it's going to be canceled, but the legacy of the Hog Classic, just really incredible. It's interesting that he fell in love with the Hog, but he also may be the reason why it's canceled forever. But Bloshi in that Swagtron in the opening event in the fourth place, just incredible, and finishing it out with a third. There's just so much rookie talent, and to be quite honest, I hear rumblings about CBK, and there could be a lot of good things happening there for the next season. But It's exciting to see, and we've got 2 weekends of MKS racing left. There's a lot of things to figure out and a lot of moving parts, but we're excited to see where they go.